I think it's discipline. Really, really, it's just discipline. You can train your mind to respond to certain things. So the way I look at it, and what I've been doing for like a pretty long time now, is I'll look at every situation, every opportunity, every room that I'm in, every person I meet. I always default to paying attention to only the positive thing about it, right? So like if I walk into a room for the first time with like Drake or something, right? He's like this huge star. There's positive things that can happen and there's definitely negative things that can happen, right? I can go in that room and think to myself, fuck, is Drake gonna like me? Or is he gonna like the beats I play? Or like what if I say something stupid and he kicks me out? Or like what if I piss 40 off? Or like I don't know, it could be anything. And really what you're doing when you're focusing on the negative, you're traumatizing yourself into thinking that something will happen before it even happens, right? And so the interesting thing about this is, so I one of my idols is Joe Dispenza. You guys should look him up, but he's a neuroscientist, and he talks a lot about the brain and how people think and act. And he has this concept where I think it's a fact. I don't think it's a concept, but he has this thing where, the brain doesn't know the difference between something actually happening in real life and something that you imagine, because it's only responds, the subconscious responds to your emotion and your feeling and your thinking, right? The brain is in our heads. The brain isn't exposed to the outside world. It's fed information via our senses. So our eyes, our ears, our touch, all of our senses, taste, and then that goes into electrons into the brain, and the brain says, oh, that's an apple, or oh, that's tea, or oh, you're doing a podcast right now. So if you experience those things in real world, the brain knows it. But if I go to bed tonight and I think about it, the brain doesn't know the difference between it actually happening or if you're imagining it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Went from a run earlier. I hope you enjoyed that little segment. I was listening to the Producer Grind podcast. I haven't listened to them before. Thoroughly enjoy podcasts as a whole, so I came across this one and it was great. Thoroughly enjoyed it. The episode I watched specifically was with Illmind. He's a producer if you don't know who he is. And I recommend, even if you're not a producer, to listen to that episode. It's a very good episode on Spotify, the Producer Grind podcast. I think they have 2 or 3 episodes with Illmind in there. You should watch them all. Just go and watch them. Anyway, I've been procrastinating for the past hour or so, dipping my finger in this candle and letting the wax dry on my finger. That's what I've been doing. But before that, I made this beat and I did the unthinkable. Well, not the unthinkable. I feel like I broke a few rules. Not that there are any rules, but I feel like I broke a few rules. I combined 2 genres into one beat, and we're gonna break it down right now. I don't think I've heard a song or a beat ever that has done this. I'm not claiming to be the first one or the only person to ever do this, but it's a sick idea and I'm surprised that it doesn't happen more often, to be honest. Because basically it's 2 beats in one. It'd be crazy, if you ask me. So in the project here, I've dragged in the Cymatics Merciless loop stems. It's from the Chaos beta. It's free to download. Just go search that up on the Cymatics website if you're interested. And yeah, I dragged the stems in and I did 2 main parts of manipulation. I've grabbed this Prophet lead, I've reversed it and chopped it so that it sounds like this. Where it actually originally sounds like this. Fire. Then there's these chords that sound like this. They're fire, and I thought there's a little bit of a gap in there where it sort of decays, so I decided to chop the sample a little bit and reverse it back into itself. And I also pitched it down a whole octave. Sounds like this. I'll also pan that slightly to the right, as you can see here. Then there's also this mellotron flute in here that I think is sick. Probably my favorite part of the sample, apart from the bass, but we'll get to that later. Sick. So we've got some basic trap drums. We have the hi-hat. Super simple. We've got this clap as well. Very basic trap clap. And with those together, we've also got this open hat to add a little bit of bounce. Now we could add in this 808. This is a Crunchyroll 808 from Cody's Go-To 2021 drum kit. This is probably one of my favorite 808s to use. It's fire. It just plays the root note D over and over again. It sounds like this. Cool, so I just have this tape stop effect into the hook, and all together it sounds like this. Alright, so the arrangement obviously in the intro and in the first part of the hook, we've cut out the hi-hat at the end to give the drop a little bit more emphasis. And then when we move into the first verse here, we've got this reversed lead once again with the reversed chords, just with the hi-hat and the clap. Sounds like this. I love the effect that these two have. It definitely brings the energy down, but not too far to the point where it gets boring. And then when you add the 808 and the open hat back in and chop out every second bar of this reverse lead, we have a nice bounce that switches it up and keeps it interesting. Super fire. And then for this last part of the verse, it's kind of like a bridge. It just has the chords and the lead playing into the tape stop. And we also have these two claps and the last bar of hi-hat to lead into the next hook. Yeah, moving on to my favorite part of the beat. So after the second hook comes in, you sort of expect the beat to end, but we have this sort of switch up filtered 8-bar section here where I bring this narrow band in on the master and cut out a lot of the frequencies here so that you can't quite tell what's going on. Up until about 4 bars into the switch up, you sort of start hearing the tonalities and the rhythms of a drill beat. And I've also automated the volume or the drill 808, just so there's not immediately obvious that that's what we're doing. And then also we have the tape stop effect into the drill hook. And then we just have the kick and snare into the outro. Alright, so the sounds I used for the drill section of the beat all come from Ocean's Free Drill Pack. We've got this counter snare that I'm using as a hi-hat, something that's pretty common in drill. And this has got the distinct hi-hat drill bounce. This hi-hat MIDI is from his pack as well. Super fire, sounds like this. Classic drill bounce snare. And then along with that snare and the hi-hat / counter snare, we'll put the kick in for some context. Two other sounds I used this perk, and I just literally copy and pasted the hi-hat pattern into this and I pitched it up an octave. This is playing really quietly, but it gives the hi-hat a little bit of color, a little bit of flavor, and I just like it. It sounds like this. It's an interesting sound and it's not something you'd usually think to put a hi-hat pattern on, but I did it nonetheless. Finally, I've got this classic sword perk that's used in drill a lot. It sounds like this. So yeah, altogether it sounds like this. So some things I had to think about when mixing is I needed the kick of both the drill and the trap section to carry the same energy, because if one kick was way louder than the other, there'd be a massive difference in energy, and I wanted them to slap very similarly, slap the same amount, so that one wasn't outshone by the other. And that goes with the same with the 808s. So the kicks and the 808s hitting at about the same levels between both of the sections, and then I sort of leveled the rest from there, because those are going to be the focal points of your beats. And since you usually only have one kick and 808 to work on a beat, that's not something you usually have to think about. But for this one, it was super important so that, like I said before, there wasn't a difference in energy when you went from one section to another. So what I basically did is, yeah, I leveled the kicks the same, and then the 808s at about the same level again. And then I leveled the trap drums with the melody to get a gauge. And then I leveled the drill drums together, and then layered the melody and fine tweaked it from there. And then, as always on the master, I've got an instance of fresh air, just brightening up it a little bit. We've got a Fruity multi-brand compressor on the mastering 2.4 decibels preset. And I have Ozone Imager giving it a little bit of stereo width. Maximus, this basically all I've got it doing is I've gone into the low section and I've fully merged the low end to make sure we don't have any stereo in the low end, to avoid any phase issues. We have the limiter with the ceiling raised and the gain turned up just to increase the loudness, make the track nice and loud. Soft clipper to make sure we're not clipping, obviously. And then we have this EQ, like I said, for the bridge on the master, and the tape stop effect also. So that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, subscribe if you want to see more content, hit the bell notification to be notified next time I post a video. I love this idea for a beat. Let me know if you do as well, and try it out for yourself if you haven't done it already. Also, let me know in the comments if there are beats / songs out there that have both genres in them, because it's a fire idea and I'd like to hear it applied in the industry, if that makes any sense. So I think that's going to be it. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves. Catch you in the next video. I love you.